Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
General Hospital spoilers for Monday, December 22nd, reveal that Britt Westbourne and Brad Cooper will face some police station drama while Tracy Quartermaine plays Cupid. Giovanni Gio Palmieri will also dread what's coming, but he'll get a vim talk that's just what he needs to hear. For starters, Tracy will prompt Cody Bell to take a chance and go for it. Once Cody admits he's crushing on Molly Lansing Davis, Tracy may give him a punch to tell her how he feels and eventually get the ball rolling on their love. Of course, there'll be some confusion to clear up since Molly saw Britt kissing Cody, but we've faith that he can explain and help Molly understand the depth of his passions ultimately. In the meantime, Lulu Spencer will give Dante Falconeri some guidance. Dante may get a memorial that it's not a good idea to stand in the way of Gio and Rocco Falconeri relating as sisters. Dante is willing to compromise for Rocco's sake, so he invited Gio over to Lulu's place for a vacation gathering. Although Gio will dread going and open up to Trina Robinson about that, she may move him to open his heart to actually having fun. Meanwhile, Jordan Ashford will be impressed by a surprise Curtis Ashford pulls off, so she'll quiz him as they flirt on Monday's GH occasion. Over with Nina Reeves, she'll confess to Ava Jerome about the deal she struck with Jack Brennan and point out that she's made far worse negotiations to save Willow Kane. Nina could run into some problems since she seems to be wavering when it comes to keeping her end of the bargain. Brennan got relief of the videotape footage against Willow, so now he expects Nina to deliver information on Valentine Cassidy's contact with Charlotte Cassadine. Nina got Charlotte to unmask the news that Valentine had been in touch, but she eventually stopped her former stepdaughter from revealing too much. It's clear that Nina doesn't want to betray Charlotte any further than she has to, but Brennan may avenge if he doesn't get his way. At the PCPD, Britt will contend this is all a big misreading. Both Brad and Britt will scramble to save themselves now that they've been arrested for dining and dashing at Café Sherry. General Hospital spoilers say Britt and Brad have plenitude of drama ahead at the police station, so stay tuned for updates on whether they'll be suitable to wriggle out of trouble. Drew Kane witnessed he didn't flash back who shot him, while Detective Harrison Chase made 2 apprehensions. And over at Lulu Spencer's house, she and Detective Nathan West stood up to Jack Brennan. On Moment's General Hospital occasion, Christina was called to the stand at Willow's trial. Christina Corinthos Davis witnessed in Willow Tate's trial. Acting District Attorney Justine Turner asked about their time in Dawn of Day. Christina verified this and participated that some women were trained in munitions to cover their leader, David Henry Shiloh Archer. Justine got her to admit that Willow was in that inner circle and had arm training. Nina Reeves left the room before the cross-examination, where Alexis got Christina to say that Michael Corinthos asked Willow to talk to her to keep her down from the cult. Also, she added that she had no way seen Willow with the armament. Justine questioned Brooke Lynn about Edward's gun. Justine also questioned Brooke Lynn Quartermaine about Edward Quartermaine's gun and its position. When she asked about Willow and Drew's relationship while Willow was still wedded, Alexis Davis tried to expostulate but was overruled. Brooke Lynn conceded they were near, but when Justine pressed on how near, Alexis expostulated again. Brooke Lynn explained that everyone saw them intimate when the coitus tape recording vented, but when Justine asked about Drew's strong influence over Willow, Alexis expostulated formally more, and the acting DA concluded. Alexis had no questions, so Brooke Lynn left the stand. Elizabeth was called to the stand. Next was Elizabeth Baldwin, who told the court about the gun set up in Willow's room. She explained that she took Willow in after the defendant left Drew at the balcony for having an affair with her mama. Justine sarcastically remarked that was quite a motive, but repudiated her comment after Alexis expostulated. The acting DA questioned Liz about Willow and Drew's relationship, getting her to admit they weren't speaking at the time of the firing. Justine suggested that since Willow couldn't see her kiddies while with Drew, she might have wanted to remove that hedge. Drew threatened Alexis about Scout once further. Alexis raised an expostulation, egging the judge to caution Justine to be careful. During the cross-examination, Liz stated that she had no way witnessed Willow displaying hostility towards Drew, emphasizing that she was both a good nanny and a caring mama. The judge also called for a recess, during which Drew tried to console a concerned Willow, assuring her that the jury would see through Turner's manipulations. He latterly scolded Alexis for her mistakes. However, he fumed, "I promise you, if you continue like this." Chase asked Dante about the traffic cam footage in the hallway. Chase asked about the business cam footage, and Dante Falconeri suspected it had been tampered with. Chase hoped he wasn't being indicted, averring he'd no way alter substantiation. Alexis told Drew that making the business prints inadmissible was a big palm, but he claimed that when he witnessed, he'd say he flashed back Michael shooting him. Alexis advised that their case could handle another taradiddle, and when he said he was willing to take that chance, she brazened him. She stated she wouldn't support perjury and wouldn't risk her license again. Drew witnessed he didn't flash back who shot him when court proceeded. Drew took the stage, and Justine asked him about the night he was shot. He said he'd a drink, opened the safe, and was shot in the reverse. She also inquired if he knew who shot him, and everyone awaited as he eventually confessed he didn't. The execution rested, and when Alexis had no questions for Drew, the judge ended the day, and as the courtroom voided, Alexis told him he made the right choice. Drew snapped back, "For your sake, you'd more hope I did. However, I swear I'll do what I said, if you do'n't fix this. Just because I do'n't flash back Michael shooting me doesn't mean I won't." Alexis lowered, and behind her, Willow looked worried. Isaiah entertained Portia at his cabin in Isaiah Gannon's cabin. He tried to entertain Portia Robinson while she relaxed. He suggested playing chess with checkers to replace missing pieces. He got emotional flashing back his father tutoring him and aloud about being a pater, and promised to be the stylish father if the baby was his. Portia believed him and promised to get the maternity test soon. Latterly, Portia won the game, but their festivity was intruded by a call from Curtis Ashford checking on her after her early sanitarium discharge. He offered to bring her anything she demanded, but she assured him her gal was taking care of her. Brad and Britt couldn't pay for their mess. Brad Cooper and Britt Westbourne had a hard time gathering enough plutocrat for their precious lunch at Café Sherry. He suggested calling someone for help, but she claimed they break it themselves. When the server came to take the check, Britt delayed by ordering further Kate. Once he went to the kitchen, she snappily left the eatery with a shocked Brad following her. They went back to her room above Bobby's and laughed, happy to be together again. Brad confessed that when he learned she was alive, he did everything to get back to Port Charles. Chase made 2 apprehensions as he looked around her room. He wondered how she was swinging it and how she induced Carly Spencer to let her stay. Britt said it took a vil and mentioned that indeed though no bone liked her, she had formed a bond with Rocco Falconeri. Brad was surprised, and Britt complained that Lulu didn't want her near Ben. This was indeed though she was much better than the parent of her other child, Charlotte Cassadine, the escaped con Valentine Cassadine. Their fun ended when Chase knocked on her door and arrested them both. Jocelyn and Jason had a discussion about Britt. Jocelyn Jax told Jason Morgan she trusted him further than Jack. She verified that Henry Dalton, Jen Sidwell, and the 5 poppies were linked to Caesar Faison's last design. But she also said Britt isn't a victim, she's a willing party. Joss admitted she didn't know the design details, just that it involved cold emulsion. Jason flashed back Britt talking about cold emulsion on the flight back to Port Charles. Joss explained Dalton was transferring Britt data to dissect, and after the 5 poppies was destroyed, she kept working with him in Port Charles and was likely involved in the professor's exposure. Jason asked Jocelyn how she was gathering substantiation on Sidwell. When Jason asked how she was gathering substantiation on Sidwell, Joss revealed she was told to use Lucas Jones, who didn't know he was a WSB asset. Noticing Jason's response to Ladle Island, she pressed him, and he admitted that when Britt returned, he set up her on the jetties. She might have been going there. Jocelyn refocused out the substantiation was clear, but Jason argued they could be forcing Britt to do their work for her Huntington's meds. Jocelyn offered to find further information, but he didn't want her to take pitfalls. She claimed, and he noted she was as stubborn as her mama, but asked her to be careful. Joss promised she'd and smiled, saying it was nice to work together. Lulu and Nathan stood up against Jack. Lulu and Nathan blamed Jack for suggesting the operative was like Faison. Jack allowed. Nathan's memory loss was accessible, and Nathan replied that as a police operative, he was different from the WSB. Lulu agreed and yelled at Jack for trying to manipulate her. She told him to leave her house, and Jack advised that Valentine's freedom would harm everyone, including Charlotte. As he left, he banged into Nina Brennan, hoped she was there to keep their deal. She prepared herself and knocked on the door, surprised to find her family outside. Lulu thought Nina came to see Charlotte. Lulu allowed. Nina was there for Charlotte, and Nina said she wanted to take her to lunch. Charlotte came down and contended with her mama to let her leave, and when Lulu dithered, Nathan offered to get a guard for them. Lulu agreed, and Nina took Charlotte out. Nathan comforted Lulu that Charlotte was safe, but she bothered her son heard Jack's trouble to Valentine. Nathan congratulated Lulu for standing up to Jack, and she expressed her frustration with how he treated Nathan. She participated her passions about continuing life after it had moved on, and abominated that Maxie Jones would face the same. Nathan promised they would support Maxie together. Nina and Charlotte talked at Café Sherry. At Café Sherry, Nina inquired about Charlotte's well-being and encouraged her to speak freely. The teenager confessed that she felt torn between her parents, and Nina comforted her that she was the center of Valentine's macrocosm. She mentioned it must be heartbreaking for him not to communicate with her. Charlotte revealed that he'd actually been in touch, and Nina snappily prompted her to keep that information to herself. Important people are looking for your father. On both sides of the law. I watch for you a lot. Further than you realize, but you see I ain't trust anyone with this, not indeed me. Carly couldn't believe Jack was as bad as Valentine thought. Carly couldn't accept that Jack was keeping a dangerous recording of her for unborn use, but Valentine refocused out her ties to Sonny Corinthos and Jason. He suggested she might not indeed be Brennan's main target. She flashed back how Jack had backed Jason, Anna Devane, and Lucky Spencer, brought Charlotte back, and supported her during Michael's recovery from Bex. Valentine questioned if Jack's good conduct overbalanced his once detriment to her son. Carly was puzzled why Jack would save Michael yet jeopardize Jocelyn by involving her with the WSB. Valentine recalled how Jack pretended to be his friend until he demanded someone to condemn. Valentine threatened to pull out of his and Carly's partnership he allowed. Jack might authentically watch for her, but the actuality of that recording indicated their relationship was grounded on deception, with her simply being a pawn. Valentine also stated their deal was finished because he tasted query and demanded her full commitment. I'm just trying to understand when Jack began to manipulate me, Carly said plaintively. I'm realizing that every good thing he did was to make me feel secure so he could exploit me and my son. That makes me despise him indeed more. Let me be clear, I've no way been more determined to take Jack Brennan down than I'm right now. Be sure to catch up on everything passing with GH right now. Come back then frequently for General Hospital spoilers, news, and updates. Monday's episode of General Hospital plunges Port Charles into a volatile mix of emotional rebirth, whispered encouragement, and barely concealed fury as multiple storylines collide. From tender nudges toward romance and family healing to courtroom revelations and chilling threats, the day feels like a baptism by fire for nearly everyone involved. At the heart of the episode is the idea of transformation. Some characters step toward hope and renewal, while others spiral deeper into fear, guilt, and desperation. Encouraging words offer lifelines to the lost, but angry warnings loom just as large, promising consequences that may soon reshape lives forever. Tracy Quartermaine plays matchmaker as romance hangs in the balance. Tracy Quartermaine once again proves she's never just an observer, she's a catalyst. Spotting hesitation and emotional paralysis from a mile away, Tracy decides it's time to intervene where romance is concerned. Her target? Cody Bell. Cody's been walking around with unresolved feelings, and Tracy has no patience for emotional cowardice. When he finally admits he's developed real feelings for Molly Lansing Davis, Tracy seizes the opportunity. She pushes him to stop overthinking and take a leap of faith. Life, she reminds him, rarely rewards hesitation. However, things aren't quite that simple. Molly recently witnessed Cody sharing a kiss with Britt Westbourne, a moment that's cast doubt over his intentions. Tracy doesn't minimize the complication, but she refuses to let it become an excuse. She urges Cody to be honest, to explain himself, and to trust that clarity can repair confusion. Whether Cody follows Tracy's advice or retreats into self-doubt remains to be seen, but one thing is clear, Tracy has lit the match, and emotions are now primed to ignite. Lulu, Dante, and Gio, a family baptism of the heart. Elsewhere, Lulu Spencer offers quiet but powerful guidance to Dante Falconeri. Dante has been struggling with how to navigate the growing bond between his son Rocco and Giovanni Gio Palmieri. Protective instincts threaten to harden into resistance, but Lulu won't let fear dictate family dynamics. She reminds Dante that preventing connection could do more harm than good. Rocco deserves the chance to build a relationship with Gio without adult anxieties standing in the way. Dante listens, and in a rare moment of compromise, he agrees to open the door. He extends an invitation for Gio to attend a holiday gathering at Lulu's home, a symbolic olive branch that carries both hope and anxiety. Gio, meanwhile, is dreading the visit. The weight of expectations, unresolved emotions, and unfamiliar family dynamics presses heavily on him. He confides in Trina Robinson, admitting he's afraid of rejection and awkwardness. Trina responds with warmth and wisdom, encouraging him to take the risk. Sometimes, she says, joy only arrives once fear loosens its grip. Her words land. Gio begins to consider that this gathering might not be a trial, but a chance at belonging. Curtis and Jordan, sparks, surprise, and subtle healing. In a lighter but emotionally charged storyline, Curtis Ashford surprises Jordan Ashford in a way that leaves her both impressed and curious. Curtis, known for his steady presence, does something unexpected, something that reminds Jordan why she was drawn to him in the first place. Their interaction crackles with flirtation and unspoken history. Jordan presses him for answers, half teasing, half searching for reassurance. Curtis doesn't give everything away, but his actions speak volumes. The moment feels like a baptism of possibility, proof that even relationships scarred by past pain can find renewal. Nina's dangerous bargain begins to crack. Nina Reeves finds herself standing on moral quicksand. She confesses to Ava Jerome that she struck a troubling deal with Jack Brennan, one she justified as necessary to protect Willow Kane. Brennan held leverage in the form of damaging video evidence connected to Willow. In exchange for destroying it, he demanded information, specifically about Valentine Cassidy's contact with Charlotte. Nina did manage to extract confirmation from Charlotte that Valentine had reached out, but when things went too far, Nina stopped her former stepdaughter from revealing more. Guilt gnaws at her. Protecting Willow was one thing, but betraying Charlotte feels like crossing an unforgivable line. The problem? Brennan expects results. And if Nina doesn't deliver, retaliation may follow. The threat isn't spoken outright, but it's unmistakable. Nina is running out of time, and the walls are closing in. Britt and Brad's crime spirals into chaos. What begins as a light-hearted attempt to enjoy lunch quickly turns into a humiliating disaster for Britt Westbourne and Brad Cooper. Unable to afford their extravagant meal at Café Sherry, Britt improvises, ordering dessert to stall while she plots an escape. When the waiter disappears, Britt bolts, dragging Brad with her in a reckless dash that ends in laughter and temporary relief. Back at Britt's room above Bobby's, the mood shifts to nostalgia and warmth. Brad admits he raced back to Port Charles the moment he learned Britt was alive. Their reunion feels genuine, tender, almost redemptive. But peace never lasts long in Port Charles. Detective Harrison Chase soon appears at the door, and just like that, the laughter dies. Britt and Brad are arrested for dining and dashing, their attempt at freedom ending in police station drama. At the PCPD, Britt insists it's all a misunderstanding, but consequences are already in motion. The courtroom, truth, memory, and threats collide. The trial surrounding Willow Tate takes center stage as emotions erupt under oath. Christina Corinthos Davis is called to testify and confirms her involvement in Dawn of Day, explaining how some members, including Willow, received weapons training to protect cult leader Shiloh Archer. However, under cross-examination, Christina clarifies that she never saw Willow carry or use a weapon. The testimony creates tension but stops short of a smoking gun. Brooklyn Quartermain follows, questioned about Edward Quartermain's firearm and Willow's relationship with Drew Kane. The acting DA pushes boundaries, forcing Alexis Davis to object repeatedly. Though overruled at times, Alexis manages to limit the damage. Elizabeth Baldwin's testimony brings further complexity. She describes finding a gun in Willow's room but emphasizes Willow's gentle nature, her devotion as a mother, and her professionalism as a nurse. Elizabeth insists she never witnessed aggression from Willow, toward Drew or anyone else. Then comes the bombshell. During a recess, Drew attempts to comfort Willow, but instead turns his rage on Alexis. In a chilling moment, he threatens her future relationship with Scout if she fails him. The warning is sharp, personal, and deeply unsettling. Drew takes the stand, and shocks the court. When court resumes, Drew Kane finally testifies about the night he was shot. He recounts having a drink, opening the safe, and feeling the gunshot tear through his back. When asked if he remembers who pulled the trigger, the courtroom holds its breath. Drew admits he doesn't know. The prosecution rests. Alexis asks no questions, and later reassures Drew he made the right call, but his response is anything but comforting. He warns her again, implying the threat against Scout still stands if things don't go his way. Willow overhears enough to be shaken, fear etched across her face. Isaiah and Portia, hope in isolation. Away from the chaos, Isaiah Gannon offers Portia Robinson a quiet refuge at his cabin. He tries to distract her with games and conversation, sharing memories of his father and his hopes of becoming a parent. He promises that if the baby is his, he will be present, loving, and devoted. Portia believes him, and vows to get the paternity test soon. For a brief moment, life feels simple. Then Curtis calls to check on her, reminding Portia that even in isolation, the past still lingers. Espionage, cold fusion, and Britt's shadowy past. Jocelyn Jacks fills Jason Morgan in on troubling developments involving Britt. She insists Britt isn't an innocent victim but an active participant in dangerous scientific and espionage-related schemes involving cold fusion. Jason struggles with the implications, especially given Britt's medical condition. Could she be acting under duress? Joss reveals she's been instructed to gather evidence using Lucas Jones, without his knowledge. Jason bristles at the risk but ultimately respects Joss's determination. Their uneasy alliance is sealed with a promise of caution. Lulu, Nathan, and Brennan, lines are drawn. At Lulu's house, Jack Brennan overplays his hand. He accuses Detective Nathan West of moral compromise and suggests his memory loss is convenient. Nathan fires back, reminding Brennan he's a cop, not a manipulator. Lulu steps in, furious, and orders Brennan out. He leaves with a warning: Valentine's freedom will endanger everyone, especially Charlotte. Moments later, Nina arrives, shaken but determined. Nina and Charlotte, love, lies, and silence. At Café Sherry, Nina gently encourages Charlotte to open up. The teen admits she feels torn between her parents and reveals Valentine has been secretly in touch. Nina reacts quickly, urging silence. She warns Charlotte that powerful forces are watching, and that trust could be dangerous. The moment is heartbreaking. Nina wants to protect Charlotte, but doing so may cost her everything. Carly and Valentine, a partnership on the brink. Carly Spencer struggles to reconcile Brennan's cruelty with his past acts of kindness. Valentine, however, sees the pattern clearly: manipulation masked as generosity. He threatens to end their alliance unless Carly commits fully. The realization dawns on her: every favor Brennan offered may have been a setup. Carly's resolve hardens. She vows to take Brennan down, no matter the cost. Final thoughts. Monday's General Hospital is a powerful study in contrasts: hope versus fear, truth versus manipulation, rebirth versus destruction. Encouraging words lift some characters toward healing, while angry threats drag others into darker territory.